Nazarje, the Slovenian Nazareth, situated in the upper Savinja valley at the confluence of the Savinja and Reta rivers, next to the ancient castle Verbovec. More than 400 years ago, it was bought by Tomáš Hren, Bishop of Ljubljana, whose life vow had a profound influence on the area. As a student, Tomáš Hren became deathly ill. He vowed that if he got better, he would make a pilgrimage to Loreto, a popular Italian sanctuary where the house in which the Virgin Mary is said to have lived was transported from Nazareth. But Tomáš could not keep his promise to Mary, for after studying theology, he was ordained a priest and 11 years later appointed as Bishop of Ljubljana. Later, with some regret, he wrote, "All this time I have not been able to visit the shrine at Loreto. When I bought Verbovec Castle, Baron Wagen gave me the hill above the castle. I devoted it to the Holy House of Loreto and laid the foundation stone for it, in gratitude for the return of my health." The fulfillment of this vow is still attested today by a stone tablet, which the diocesan and Hren coat of arms in which is carved the inscription. This chapel of Nazareth was built with a design as close as possible to the old chapel of Loreto by Thomas, 9th Bishop of Ljubljana, in the Jubilee year 1625. During the period of Catholic Restoration that succeeded the tumultuous era of Protestantism in Austrian lands, the copy of the Holy House of Loreto developed into a locus of grace, increasingly frequented by pilgrims in need of spiritual assistance. Therefore, in 1633, Kren's successor, Bishop Skarlicki, handed over the Holy House of Loreto to the Franciscan friars to manage and minister out of. The Habsburg Emperor Ferdinand II issued an edict to allow the Franciscans to build a convent, and the friars completed the construction 4 years later. Afterwards, they built a church which was consecrated in 1661. The church decorations and side altars date back to the Baroque period. Most of the saints on the side altars were painted by Valentin Metzinger. The slightly later altar of St. Francis of Assisi was built by the sculptor Francesco Robba, and the image was painted by Fortunat Bergant. Master organ builder Eisel crafted a two-manual organ with two facades and is one of the most important organs in Slovenia. The Franciscans not only cared for the spiritual well-being of locals and pilgrims, but also through the convent pharmacy cared for their physical health. Brother Salomon was the most famous among the Franciscan surgeons and pharmacists. He joined the order in 1764 and practiced medicine in the convent for 58 years. He became famous for his recipe for a medicinal bitter, which is still known today as Salomon's elixir of life. For almost 200 years, the Franciscan friars, who were surgeons and pharmacists, alleviated the illnesses of the local population and brought them to health. At the end of the 17th century, the leadership of the Franciscan province began a novitiate in the convent, a year of testing and introduction to the Franciscan religious life for young men who, following God's will, wished to become Franciscans. Among the many novices at the novitiate in this convent was the first Slovenian poet, Valentin Vodnik, whose religious name was Brother Marcelian. The Franciscans' activities were not limited only to this religious formation. They also devoted themselves to the education of children, which became an important part of their pastoral work. With the school reforms of the Austrian Empress Maria Theresa and Emperor Joseph II, this, the oldest school in the valley, began operating in the convent. The friars who were teaching there taught many generations of children to read, write, and do arithmetic, in addition to religious classes. The establishment of the parish at the end of the 18th century gave new impetus to the pastoral mission of the Franciscan friars. Due to the needs of the convent, novitiate, surgery, pharmacy and convent school, the friars had to continuously expand the convent library. Its rich collection includes parchments, incunabula and many other old prints. Among them, 2 books stand out. The New Testament, translated by Primož Trubar, and in particular the Bible translated by Yuri Dalmatin in 1584, made Slovenian the 15th language in the world to have a printed translation of the entire Holy Bible. All this testifies to the fact that throughout history the convent has been one of the most important cultural centres in this area. With the Nazi occupation in April 1941, dark clouds of terror and horror gathered over the valley. The Germans closed the convent school, imprisoned the Franciscans, and deported and eventually murdered the parish priest, Father Cherubin, in Dachau. When the communist partisans blew up the eastern and western wings of the convent, the explosion destroyed the classrooms and library, which suffered irreparable damage. After the war, the Franciscans had to tackle the urgent restoration and reconstruction of the western wing, which was successful mainly thanks to the dedicated help of the local people. The friars later converted and restored part of the convent into a house for spiritual retreats. After Slovenia became an independent country in 1991, a museum library was established on the ground floor. In April 1978, 3 Slovenian-born Poor Clare sisters moved from the Zagreb convent to Nazarje, where the friars gave them part of their garden with an old abandoned greenhouse. Here, with the help of the Franciscans and many benefactors, the Poor Clares built a convent and a chapel dedicated to Mary Immaculate, which only strengthened the veneration of Mary on the hill of Nazarje. An even closer connection with Nazareth, the place of Jesus' childhood, was established when a document was solemnly signed in 1999, twinning the Holy House of Mary in Nazarje with the Basilica of the Annunciation in Nazareth. Due to the Holy House of Loreto, the first replica of Mary's house from Nazareth on Slovenian soil, which Bishop Tomáš Hren had built in accordance with his vow, the hill on which the convent stands was named Mary of Nazareth. This name was the main reason why, in the middle of the last century, the new village surrounding the castle of Verbovec was named Nazarje.